It's been more than 3 years since the COVID-19 outbreak began in Wuhan, China, but a key mystery remains. Where did the virus come from? Scientists have focused on 5 clues. Clue number 1, early cases at the HUANAN wholesale seafood market.
The first cases that were known were people who had been in or worked in or visited a market where they sell, all sorts of food in the middle of Wuhan.
Because Chinese authorities quickly closed the market and sanitized it, scientists researching how the virus spread did not have much to go on. But they did have clue number 2, genetic material. Scientists collected it from animals at the market known to carry viruses like COVID.
There was some genetic data collected 3 years ago that was uploaded to an international genetic database. There's DNA from that animal called a raccoon dog, which is known to be very susceptible to SARS viruses.
SARS viruses include SARS-CoV-2. That's the name of the virus that causes COVID-19.
What the sequences do not show is a raccoon dog infected with the COVID virus. But what they do show is raccoon dogs in the same place where there was a lot of COVID virus collected.
Clue number 3, the proximity of the initial outbreak to the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
There's a major laboratory in Wuhan that studies coronaviruses. This is a very high-level lab and worked with American scientists and other international scientists.
We know that scientists there were genetically engineering coronaviruses under seriously inadequate safety conditions. And we know that viruses escape from labs all the time.
Clue number 4, the structure of the virus itself. Many viruses use their spike proteins to bind and enter human cells. The former head of the CDC says COVID spike proteins seemed tailor-made to infect people.
It looked like this virus was engineered.
Clue number 5, the close relatives to COVID in nature. Last year, scientists discovered decades-old coronaviruses found in cave bats in Laos could enter human cells. The spike protein from one of the bat viruses and COVID-19 spike protein look almost identical. So, 5 key clues to consider: the market, genetic material, the lab, COVID structure, and natural relatives. Sifting through the evidence, some scientists conclude the virus somehow escaped from the Wuhan laboratory.
There is no smoking gun proving a laboratory origin hypothesis, but the growing body of circumstantial evidence suggests a gun that is, at very least, warm to the touch.
Other researchers conclude the virus crossed from animal to human naturally, possibly in the Huanan market.
There is evidence of a natural animal spillover, and there really isn't much or any of a laboratory leak at this point.
Most U.S. intelligence agencies have favored the natural origin, though the FBI and Department of Energy support the lab leak hypothesis.
Those U.S. agencies that lean towards a lab leak, or believe it's more likely that the SARS-CoV-2 virus came from a lab, either express low confidence or moderate confidence.
In terms of politics, polling suggests 2/3 of Americans believe there was a lab leak. It's a view Republican politicians have largely embraced, while Democratic lawmakers mostly espouse the natural animal-to-human hypothesis.
The process, unfortunately, was politicized from the very beginning.
That includes the role of China. The international community has continuously criticized China for secrecy and impeding investigations into the origin of the virus.
The Chinese government, seems to me, has been doing its best to try to thwart and obfuscate.
We continue to call on China to be transparent in sharing data and to conduct the necessary investigations and share the results.
China says it's been, quote, open and transparent in the search for the virus's origins. Its leaders recently renewed an unfounded theory alleging the virus came from a U.S. military base. The politics and bad blood surrounding the issue, scientists say, will continue to make solving the mystery all the more difficult. Lindsay Thies, Scripps News.